Welcome back to the Masters of Recon podcast, your top automotive refinishing podcast with your hosts, Corey Kleinfeld
and Ryan Brewer. Enjoy the show, everyone.
Welcome back to the Masters of Recon podcast. Today on the podcast, we have a special guest, Jeremy Carroll, out of the Tri-Cities area of Tennessee. He is the owner of Direct Auto Reconditioning. He has added Restore FX to his suite of options about 6 months ago, and is opening his second location in Tennessee next week. Welcome to the show, Jeremy. What's going on?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
What's good today, boys? What do you want to talk about?
Everything. I want to talk about all the services you offer, how you make money, how you open a second location, all the different types of things. So let's start about how you got into. Let's start with how you got into reconditioning. I don't know this, but I'm assuming it was started with PDR.
Yeah, it actually held here in 2002. One of my high school friends' brother did paintless dent repair. He called me. He knew I was decent with my hands. He's like, "Hey, man, do you want to do R&I for my brother?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is R&I?" He's like, remove and install, it's paintless dent repairing. I had no idea what it was. I saw it, started taking cars apart. Back then, dude, like they would pay us $25 to take a car headliner down and put it up, like $50 to take an SUV headliner and put it up. So we thought we were absolutely killing it. But anyway, that got me into it. I met some guys. They took me to the middle of Wyoming, dropped me off. Left me there to die, and then I slowly made my way back, hustling people out of money to East Tennessee, and then here I am now. But I mean, really, 2002, I started kind of pushing on dents. Went on the road for a year. Really learned how not to run a business that year and how not to treat people. I came back. I started working for my uncle's junkyard. I had a couple dent tools, a little bit of money. I hustled on the side, bought, sold, did whatever I could to stack up money. Saved up a little bit of money, and then I met this guy. He was in Tennessee in that 2002 storm. He called me out of the blue at Christmas. Was like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" I told him. He's like, "Well, if you want to come out and work hell next year, you can." Well, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was a terrible dent guy. Like awful. But I lied to him and told him I was good. So we went out there, and then he finished training me, and here I am now, like 21 years later. Went through several years. I think it was 6 years I was on the road doing nothing but hell. And then 2007, I met my wife now, Jennifer, and was like, "I'm not going back on the road full time." And thankfully, a local dealer called me, was like, "Hey, we heard you're really good at doing hail. It's been 6 years. Most 6-year dent guys are, fairly good." The dealer's like, "Hey, we fired this national company. They got a lot of turnover. I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. We got rid of them. We want somebody to come in and vet dent guys for us. We know you don't want to come off the road, but we want somebody to find us a good dent guy because we just keep going through these shitty dent guys." And this was a recon manager telling me this. So I came, I helped them clean a lot up, and I interviewed like 8 local guys, and every one of the fucking guys were late to the interview. Like every interview I set up, they were late. And I'm like, and I told the recon manager, I said, "Look, man, if I can make $1,000 a week fucking around here doing door dings," because I've never done door dings. I didn't know how to price them. I didn't know it was as cheap as it was. I've always did hell. And I said, if I can do this in one day, then I know I can build a route and I'll stay here. And that's kind of how I got here. And that's how I started my route with that franchise. And now that franchise, dealer owns like 17 dealers, so, as they've grown, I've grown with them. And then I've spread out, I've trained Cody, my lead technician, 2012. We hit several hailstorms in between there. I opened the retail shop 5 years ago.
I'm curious. Let me stop you real quick.
Yeah.
Were you? This is in Tri-Cities, Tennessee. Is that where you were from originally, and you came back home? Okay, so they called you and said, "Hey, come back and find me a dent guy," and you're like, "Found you, found him. It's me." Basically.
Absolutely. You know,
Okay,
well,
yeah.
I was in and out. I was in and out chasing storms for those 6
Okay.
years. I was here. I was based out of Bristol. I did a couple body shops. You know, I knew some people around here. I'm from Bristol, Tennessee. That's one of the 3 cities in the Tri-Cities. And then when I was here, I guess they got my name through a body shop. One of the body shops they used said I was good at this, and you know, and I do. Look, I ain't gonna lie. Ryan knows me good. I'm cocky and arrogant, man. I'm good at this job. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't good at this job, you know. So I went in there, you know. And you think I'm cocky now? Imagine me at like 26. I'm 42. I was unfucking barrel, bro, at 26.
Yeah. I've never met a cocky dent guy before, so that's crazy.
I know, right?
You might be the first one, yeah. So when did the shop idea come about? So I mean, most hail guys that are chasing, that are doing stuff at home a little bit, aren't chomping at the bit to get shops, I don't think. So when did that start?
Man, to be honest, when I met Ryan at that Mega Media event, Ryan, when was that? I can't remember the year now.
Dude,
was it the
that
first?
Had to be 2017.
That's what I was gonna say. That was the first one, I think.
Yeah, it was the first Mega Media event.
I think that was 17. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I met Ryan here, and I didn't realize, nobody here was doing retail PDR. Nobody. There wasn't marketing. There wasn't doing Google. There wasn't Facebook back then. Nobody. So I came back, we got a website. I had Mike Toledo do all my stuff. At first he helped me everything, and we did pretty good. And I've always had a shop. I've always had a place to store my hot rods because I build, buy, and sell hot rods too. But it was never a retail shop. And you know, we did a big hailstorm. My wife, she worked with me for a while doing sales. She landed this giant storm in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I mean, a really life-changing deal, because it lasted 5 years. It held there 5 years in a row. So I kept guys there for 5 years. And in that 5 years, that body shop partner become one of my good friends, and she taught me a lot of things about retail business and insurance and things like this. And it really, you know, I was like, I got to do more retail. I got to get off the fucking road. I hate being on the road. So between the Mega Media thing, Jennifer, the next year or two, laid that big deal, I'm like, man, we're buying a shop. So we started looking for shops. And I wanted to do a dance detail, whatever, just whatever. And I thought you could stop. I really thought that you could do PDR only. And that's the dumbest thing to ever think in a tiny little rural area that anybody would even know what paintless dent repair is. Because typically they go, oh, you do that dentless paint repair shit, right?
Yeah.
That's what I typically get.
Yep.
How many people live in Tri-Cities?
It's growing fast. Now it's like 500,000. I mean, it's grown pretty quick in the last couple of years. We're getting a lot of people. It was very cheap property here, and it's beautiful. So a lot of people that can work remote from wherever, if they're in a shitty place, they'll just move out here to the mountains and just work remote. A lot of our retail customers, believe it or not, are from California,
I knew it.
bigger cities. I mean, like bigger cities, bro, like Chicago or New York,
the Bay Area,
paintless dent repair, anywhere that paintless dent repair, they know about it because they know about it from their hometown, but then people in my hometown have no clue. And it's just my lack of marketing. You know, it's the guys before me that never did retail, that they were doing $35 retail dents and $50 retail dents. You know, hell, they still do it. You know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been a fight. I've had to add a lot of shit to my shop to get my shop to where it is right now.
Yeah. So you started the shop with the intent of just doing PDR initially, and then you realized pretty quick. Yeah.
Well, how big was that shop?
Yeah.
This one I'm in now, 6,000 square feet.
When you first, is this the first shop that you bought? Was the one you're in now?
Yeah, this is the one. I bought this one. Let's see. I opened in I opened in 19, and then 2020 shut us down, and then I reopened again in 21, and it held in 21, and it held in 22, and then it held a little bit this year. So I had back to back to back years of hell, and I just had fucking paid it off. And and I was like, well, this is paid off. This is running. This is kind of hitting the 5-year goals that I set for this place. Now it's time to open another shop, because that's kind of my deal. Is we'll hit these goals, we'll reset these goals. I'll focus on another part of the area, and then Administrator Effects really gave me more confidence in opening another shop in another area, because I know I can immediately put that process in there and snap money coming in the door, because I have such a big dealer. Man, you would not believe the dealer pull that I have in this market, because we do paintless nail repair, wheel repair, interior repair, bumper paint repair, restore FX, ceramic coating, window tint. We have a business, or I'm a part owner in a business that does every one of those things. So you have a giant pull, and you can cast such a bigger net. So that was a way that I want 3 stores in the Tri-Cities is my goal. One in Bristol, I'm a mile out of Johnson City. If I would have bought in Johnson City, I couldn't have painted my building like I did, and it was much cheaper buying here. So this is Johnson City. I want a store in Bristol, and I've got my store in Kingsport. So that's the goal ultimately, in this market. And maybe if I can do good, I'll open another market.
How do you? So you mixed it in there that you started Restore Effects. So you're pretty much doing everything, which I don't think I know anybody doing. Even like Matt Moore or some of the other guys, I don't think I know guys doing wheel repair and interior, or at least in-house. Like maybe you don't do them, but you own a company or part of a company that does it. Do you know anybody else, Brian, that does everything?
I tried all those.
Yeah.
So that's me and Jeremy talk a lot, even from the beginning with the Mega Media, and I've always been kind of proud of him, because everything that I kind of failed on, he was just better at it, and he had the connections, and he's a way better salesman than me. Even though he's 10 times more cocky than I am. Maybe that's the thing.
Maybe that's it.
It is, right? But he's just really good at it, and he's good at inspiring people. So the guys that work for him, he treats them right, he pays them the money that they're worth, and he sets goals for them that are reachable. So it's just everything works for him that way. And I think it's good that he's been able to succeed with all, avenues of recon that he's been.
Yeah, I want to come back to the, how do you treat employees and stuff, but I'm curious, because you do pretty much everything. There's no way you can do everything, but you're doing pretty much all reconditioning services, damn near. How do you sell yourself to dealerships? You just walk in there and be like, hey, what do you need? Because I can do it.
Give them some of the good stuff. Give them some of the good stuff where they had guys that worked there that did business with you, tried using somebody else, and then you come back in, because they're great.
Man, so I guess I had a really good friend. My lead technician, Cody's father, owns a bumper paint business. Him, and Cody started an interior business called Automotive Interior Experts about 10 years ago, and we hired Cody's older brother to manage it. So that business does wheel repair, interior repair, and all that. To go into a place, it's kind of like, man, here's the thing, I got the best technicians in the area. I mean, it's like, and I'm really proud of my technicians. Cody and Jordan are brothers, and they're fucking spectacular. I mean, Cody's an A+ dent guy. Jordan can fix about any interior thing known to man. And we have a good wheel guy. So when you have those things in your back pocket, it's just easy to sell a deal. Like, go in there and, just walk in like, hey, my name's Jeremy, you know me because you've been using me for 20 years doing PDR. That's the easiest way to sell anything in this area. If you've got a big, it's just a big pull. But I mean, we had a dealer fire us, right? And then they hire us back. And they fire us and they hire us back. I'll just go in there and tell them like it is. Like, look, motherfucker, I'm the most consistent thing in this place. Like, me and my guys have been here longer than any manager in this place. Like, and when I sell, I just sell with a lot. And it's not really cocky. It's just I walk into a place and be like, hey, man, we're going to give you the best. Like with Restore FX. This is how I sell Restore FX job. I'm going to turn your 4 into a 10. You know what a 4 looks like? A pug. You know what a 10 looks like? A Great Dane. Look like this. Come on, let's make some money. I mean, it's easy to sell when you can really turn out good products. You know, like a lot of my sales are just I'll go get the worst shit on the lot. You know, we like interior repair. We would get wrecked seats. You know, big tears, and just fix them. You know, if it takes 2 days to fix it, we fix it. We take the deal. But I mean, truthfully, we don't have. I mean, I'm very, very blessed. We don't have a lot of competition anymore because we've been able to just.
Do you ever have an issue? So I had a little bit of issue. I've been a PDR tech for 23 years, and that was it, nothing else. And I think, you know, if not the top company in Sacramento, the top 2. And so people know us. And we had a little bit of a translation problem about me being the PDR tech, but now I'm also the paint correction, Restore FX, whatever they want to call it, guy. Did you ever have that issue with like you being a certain person and then be like, oh, how can you do everything or whatever?
Yeah, the issue I have with it is they call me all the time with the problems. That's the deal. That it's like it don't matter if I don't know how to do a cigarette burn. You know, I know how to do dents and I know how to sand Restore FX. You know, I know how to vaguely do a little bit of stuff, but I've not really had a lot of problem with because I see what you're saying. You're like, oh well, you're the dent guy. How are you going to do this too?
It's not like it's not like that they think I'm lying. It's just that like when they see dent stuff, they think of me, but when they see the shitty paint situation, they don't necessarily think of me right away. And part of my problem personally is that I'm still the dent guy. And if I get myself to a point where I just own a reconditioning company and I sell them reconditioning services, no matter what it is, maybe that translation is a little different. Me going in there is me talking to them business to business, man to man, versus me fixing a dent for them. And so maybe that's part of the issue.
Well, Jeremy, from the get-go, if you remember what he said, he was always he wasn't a dent guy to these people. He was a problem solver. Yeah. So that was the same thing for me. I started off as a dent guy, but then I became a problem solver because of everybody else that sucked in my local city, right? The paint guy sucks. So they were like, you know how to do this? I'm like, well, I know how to do all of it, so let's figure it out, right? So that's one of the things that I can say for anybody is to like, if you want to grow a business that's going to get outside of one service that you're doing, is just be that problem solver for retail customers too, man. Even though we have the name Dent Pro on our building, our customers call us and come in all the time because we've treated them so well that they just want our expertise on where they're about to send their car for the next thing, whether it's window tint, paint protection film, wheel repair. We've shot them in the right direction. And then we've done it so much and we've sent so much work out there. Years later, we're just like, well, why aren't we doing all these services ourselves, right? And I feel like that's where Jeremy kind of stepped in and did that.
Yeah, dude, like, that's exactly it. Like, I listened to the podcast with Ryan's manager, and where they kept saying, was it go call Jared? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's what you have to be. If you're fucking Jared, that's what I've been. I've solved the problems. Like, they'll come to me and be like, hey man, why don't you do wheel repair? Like, I had a dealer ask me one time, why don't you do wheel repair? And I said, we'll just do wheel repair. Can we do your wheel repair? And he said, absolutely. So we just started doing wheel repair, and that's kind of how we started doing all this. The interior thing come because there was a business called Interior Magic that come around.
A Dent Wizard subsidiary.
Yeah. So they come in and they started like hammering, and they started really taking a lot of interior work here. But then they got into the paint side, and me and Cody's dad wasn't going to have them get into our sections of this business. So we just cut that shit right off, and we bought an interior business. and we went to war with them. And that's pretty much, you know, how I've got into all this stuff is people are hungry. So just like you guys and me, I just wanted to do dents until the guy that was wanting to do paint wanted to do dents, or the guy that was wanting to do interior wanted to do dents. And then I have to go on the offensive. And that's the way I've always been. I would rather be on the offensive than the defensive. I don't want to try to get my shit back. I want to keep my shit. So we just kept adding stuff. Like I talked to Ryan at that Mega Media. He was asking about how to do interior. That's actually how we met, you know, get interior. And, you know, I was trying to pump him up and be like, yeah, you can do this and this and this. We're doing this. And I think he trained a guy, maybe he trained a guy or something, and it just didn't work out. And we've had a lot of failures, you know. I've trained a lot of my competition. But I've always, you know, my good guys stay. And if you keep the good guys and the bad guys, all my competition that I've trained are the guys that really were subpar, you know. So it's not that much of a competition I'm dealing with.
So how do you keep the best guys?
I pay them, you know. I mean, I pay them. You got to pay them. I let them buy. So let's say dent guys, you know, I don't know how percentages work and how guys pay their dent guys, but, you know, I pay my guys 50% or better, and I give them bonuses, and I give them options to buy. Like, for example, you know, if I open another Restore FX, I told all my guys, hey man, if I open another Restore FX, if you want to kick in on me, just kick me a little bit. I'll throw you. I'll try to find ways to incentivize them, because you can only pay them so much, and then you can't make money. I mean, it costs a lot to run a business. I mean, you know, my insurance premium, I just paid $17,000 insurance premium. You know, I mean, nobody count. Your technicians never look at that. They always look at their checks, you know. So I've just tried to find ways to, you know, bonus them out or give them options to buy into these other businesses. Like Cody, my lead technician, he owns 20% of the interior business. Me and him actually own some rental properties together. Just, man, I try to take care of them like my family. Honestly, that's probably the way I keep them, is I love them. And most of them love me back, and they can tell me openly, hey, I love you, and I love you back. As a grown, number one, it's hard to do as a man. But number two, as an employee to an employer, and it's a little much because I do love them. So if they leave me, it's going to be devastating, like a wife probably. So, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's killer. So how many people that work for you are also owners of different parts of it? Just Cody, or is that the ultimate goal for your technicians?
You have Cody and Jordan, the brothers. And Cody's my partner in the PDR thing. He's been with me so long, man. I mean, I look at him as, even though I do own these businesses or whatever, he's my partner. You know, I mean, he's been with me for 12 years. He's like a little brother to me, or a kid almost, you know, and he's very fast outgrown. I mean, he's as good as me and much faster because he's much younger. But Jordan owns a little bit of it. Some of my other technicians, the ones that want, if they come up to me and they want, so kind of how I do it, if they want to just work their job and they're cool working their job and working their hours, and they're happy with that money and they don't bitch, and I don't bring anything up, but and it's not even they bitch, but if they come to me and go, hey Jeremy, I need more, I need to make more, I want to do this, I want to do that, then we'll sit down and try to find ways to make more money. You know, if it's, you know, like they've brought me different ideas. Like I've got one of my detail guys, he's wanting to do a hydrotherapy dog thing where because he's a dog lover. And, you know, he's like, one day I'm going to get you on this thing, you know. And I said, well, one day when you produce more, we'll get this hydrotherapy dog walking thing going on. But until then, let's keep that buffer running, you know.
That's cool. That's how you do that, because I feel like a lot of business owners lose employees because they don't ever see it in that perspective, where you not to say every single person that works for you is always going to grow and, like, you know, make more money, but you're giving the option to people that do grow with the company, grow with you, become owners and all that shit. I've left the company I worked for 8 years. I left because I blatantly asked the owner, like, I want to own a portion of this one day, is that possible? And that was not in the realm for me. He just wasn't going to do it. So I created my own wealth, right? So that's awesome. I think a lot of people should listen to that. If you're going to be a big business owner or any type of business owner, is remember your employees are the ones that put you where you're at, and give them the option to grow with you. If you don't, one day you will lose your best guys because they're hungry, man. And that's the ones you want working for you. That's the best technicians and employees you could ask for.
Yeah. Do you bring that up with them, Jeremy? Are you just basically waiting for someone to come tell you like, hey, I want more. How can I get more? And you say, here's your options. We can do bonus. We can do this. Ultimate goal being, you want to start this business together or whatever, whether that's automotive reconditioning or hydrotherapy for a dog, whatever the fuck that is.
Nah, man, bro. Man, I got a fucking kennel over here half the time, man. I mean, we got random dogs. I mean, the neighbors' dogs come over, want to play with my detail, because my main guy, Charles, my detail guy, he's been with me in the shop since like day one. He helped me start the detail shop. He's always had dogs. He's a great dog trainer. That's probably missed his calling. He's a good buffer too, can do paint correction, ceramic coating. But he's come to this something about hydrotherapy rehabilitation. They put a dog in the water and they walk on a treadmill to rehabilitate their old ass kids. Okay. He's like, man, you're gonna get rich doing this. And I was like, man, that sounds like a $50,000 machine, bro. What are we talking about? Yeah. But I mean, that's an idea he gave me. So I mean, I do. It's a good. I mean, it's an idea. No matter what, it's an idea. I'll take all ideas. We'll listen to all of them.
Do you meet with your guys like in an office, face to face, monthly, weekly, or anything, or are you just having conversations while they're working and stuff?
We just talk, man.
You're just friends. You're just friends. Your family. Yeah, man.
Jeremy's hard on his guys.
I can make a lot more money.
Don't get this shit twisted. He's not like this guy you come in and walk all over. He came to my shop a couple months ago and was not happy, because he sees stuff that he wouldn't necessarily. But at the same point, he's given his guys the opportunity to grow, which I love it. But you have to be a stern owner as well. You can't let your guys walk over you and just give them. You can't just give them a portion of the company because they've been with you for 5 years.
Right, 100%. Yeah. It's not a time invested thing. It's a how hungry are you thing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, man. I mean, some of these guys just you can only make so much money in the day. So if they bring me a good idea, I'm all about a good idea. I'm all about a side hustle to make money. Getting back to Ryan's point, I'm not that nice. I'm a fucking asshole. I mean, to as far as like get in here and do your job, I'm a do your job type of guy. Like I do my fucking job, go do your job. But I love these guys. I'll tell them I love them, and they understand. Like if I am a little bit any type of way, they know I'm only being that way because that's just how I am. Like we were in Ryan's shop, and I was like, pulled Ryan over. I'm like, hey man, like these fucking guys ain't doing shit. Like you got to do something with these guys right here. And I'm like, I'm not trying to overstep, but like you're my homie, and I don't want to see you pay these guys and they're just fucking you over while you're around the corner, And I'm that way. Like I'll go in the back in a minute. Like if I wasn't up here, I'll be in the back, like walking around, like, hey man, what's up? I try to keep them going all day, but if you don't have somebody back there doing that, that's me now. I'm in the shop. I hired a shop manager that runs. He's basically the GM over all these businesses, Justin, and he is phenomenal. So I've kind of went back to doing more sales. He wants me to do sales and dents. That's, what he wants me to do. And so that's what I try to do. Stay in the back, keep these guys going, keep these Restore FX jobs, do my dent jobs, and then, go on. But, it's just, again, I try to pay these guys and I try to treat these guys like I would want to be treated. But like if I worked for either one of you guys, right, you're never going to fucking have to tell me what to do because I will. Because if you guys train me and you guys love me like I love these guys, then I'm going to take care of you guys. And that's the way I was raised. And, I kind of want to demand that here. And I get that for the most part. These guys are very good to me and I try to be good to them. But I'm also an asshole sometimes. So, we all are.
Yeah. All good. So how did Restore FX happen? What you're doing all these other services, it sounds like already, and now you're also added Restore FX.
Tony called me out of the blue. He just cold called me one day. I think it was like 2020, maybe.
From
And I
Restore
was sitting
FX,
in the
right?
shop.
That Tony?
Yeah.
Hmm.
He just randomly called me and he said somebody gave him my number and blah blah blah. And I'm like, and I can't remember who it was. Might have been Ryan. I don't know who it was. So he calls me and it was so slow, bro. Like we had nothing going on. I mean, you're right out of COVID, whatever. And he sent me the before and after video, and when he first told it to me, basically all I heard was something about a magic elixir that fucking fixes scratches and fucking does all this crazy shit. And me being a 20-year, in this industry and never heard of no shit like that, I'm like, nah, bro, this don't work. There's no way. And he told me all the shit, and I like the way his accent sounds. So instead of not paying him any attention, I just listened to him because I'm like, I see, he's got a cool accent. He's really nice. I'm gonna have a conversation with him because, me and him was cutting up, and he was taking it well, dude. He's a hell of a salesman. He's a great salesman. So he sparked my interest and sent an email. Well, then it fucking hit, and so I was like, all right, we need to go to Ryan's. I called Ryan. I said, hey, can I come and look at this shit in person? And he said, yeah. Well, then it hailed or some shit. And it was like a year later. It took me and Justin like almost 2 years from that point to get to Ryan's shop. Or not me and Justin, because it wasn't Justin at first. And then when Justin came aboard, we had some useless space in the back of my shop. And I said, hey, we were going to do paint and body and then be a one-stop paint and body shop. And then I started looking at it was going to cost me about $250,000 to do everything, to do the fire suppression system, to be on the up and up legally and with all the bullshit to make my shop do that. And then I went back to the Restore FX thing, and it was going to cost me, $50,000 to $75,000 to do the way I want to do it. So we went that route. I went to Ryan's. I watched Ryan's guy. This is fucking hilarious. Justin will tell you this if you ever talk to Justin. I watched Ryan's guy do a bedside, and you see all the lines in it, right? And me being a dipshit, not understanding how this works, I was like, oh, that's going to look like shit. So I just turn around and walk outside and take a phone call. And Justin comes outside. He's like, hey, man, did you see that bedside? I said, yeah, man, I have lines in it and shit. This ain't going to work. He said, no, stupid, come back here and look at it. So I came back after it leveled off and was like, holy fuck, who do I write a check to for this shit? And that was my first experience with Restore FX. Was like, I watched it and immediately was like this ain't gonna look good. And then came back 15 minutes later when it all levels. And it was like the only way I know to explain Restore FX is if you do the best paint job you've ever done in your life and you stand back and you go, yep, that's the fucking one. And that's the finish it leaves you. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I can sell this for sure. I just started counting money at Ryan's shop before I ever did anything. I text Tony and said, hey, man, how do we do this shit? And that's 2 years later. I journey into Restore FX. Yeah, 2 years later. Yeah, it took a couple of years, man. I mean, it held here twice. And we were so busy, I just didn't have time to upload another business.
Priorities. Yeah, got to make the money.
How many cars are you doing today per day with Restore FX? How does it look right now from you started, 6 months ago?
Yeah, roughly 6 months ago. Me and Austin flew out. We both ended up getting pneumonia. So I didn't install one car the whole time I was out there. I worked 2 days doing prep work, and then I couldn't stand. I was so tired I couldn't stand up. I just sit behind the glass and watched Austin work. But I think we're doing 2 cars a day. I mean, we can do, if I can keep them in here, we can do 2 cars a day. I've got Austin and I've got a prepper, Devin, that we're training to install. My plan is to separate them, put one in Kingsport, one in here, and hire 2 more preppers. That's my ultimate plan. Once Devin is, can install comfortably.
So you're saying one guy, 2 cars a day, or one guy plus a prepper, 2 cars a day. That's the goal.
Yeah. And right now that's the goal. I'm shooting for 10 cars a week. We try not to keep cars over the weekend, so I've got to condense all that down into a 4-day span. This week I hit them pretty heavy, and I think I got like 7 cars sitting here now. Austin was off Monday, so he came in this morning. And I said, "Hey, bud, you gotta install 4 today." And he's like, "Oh, I can't do that." I said, "Well, you better fucking figure it out because you missed yesterday and we're a day behind. So 4 today, sir, and I'll make it happen. I'll get you the space. You just install them." But you know, that's my thing. We're right on track where I wanted to be. 6 months, I wanted to be doing 2 cars a day. That was my goal. You know, have 2 guys and to be able to do 2 cars and the cars look the way I want them to look. And, you know, we're doing some very rough cars. We're doing some super, super heavy scratched up trucks from some of these lots we're getting them from. So, you know, they're getting good work on, you know, rougher vehicles right now.
That's awesome.
So I want to answer a question I'm sure everybody's wanting to ask as well. Is you're a perfectionist. Like if you know Jeremy, this dude looks at paint and cars differently than everybody else because he sees everything. He came in my shop picking everything apart. Is Restore Effects, like, can you get Restore Effects good enough to be on a retail side to where this stuff looks phenomenal?
Okay, so I've got a truck sitting outside in my shop that is I mean, it's a K5 Blazer restored. I don't know if I would ever put it on something like that, because like maybe Alex or you know, the trainer and what's it?
Riley.
Yeah, I would let them do it. I might let them do it. You know, I do think it's retailable, 100% retailable. We put out retail every day. But if you are a dent guy, or if you have a good eye, just like your Restore guy, you're really picky, you're going to pick yourself to death, because no matter what, nothing is ever going to be the same as a factory finish. This is a deeper luster. You know, this is honestly looks better than most factory finishes, in my opinion, the actual finish. But the application is so tricky if you don't debadge it, if you don't take the lights. If you actually took the lights out, debadge it, did it the right way, then you can 100% sell this retail. Mm-hmm. You can also run it off into the damn floor, you know, with the wrong installer and not doing it the right way. It's a tricky product. I think this product is the most amazing thing I've seen in 21 years of being in the paintless dent repair industry. This is the closest thing to paintless dent repair that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why, I think that's why they kind of changed the marketing to paintless clear coat repair, to try to fit. Because now I just tell people, because that's the majority of what we're doing is PDR and PCR. We do touch up and ceramic coatings and stuff like that, but we're mostly a repair company. And now I just say I'm the paintless repair guy, metal and paint, you know? And so I think I actually like the fact that Restore FX is difficult to apply, because I think it keeps the guys engaged in it. I think paint correction is just endlessly tedious, and you can be good at it, but it's just all that's ever going to be is moving a buffer left and right and up and down in a 2 square foot spot. That's all it's ever going to be.
And you never get that wow factor. You never, like, dude, I don't see people that paint correct something and you stand back, like Jeremy said, and look at it and you're like, oh my God, that looks awesome. Restore Effects does that every single time. I don't care. It's been 4 years for me, and I walked in my shop this morning and we had 3 retail jobs back there, and I'm like, oh my God, this looks so good.
Yeah. So do you think it's better than paint correction?
It's pretty amazing.
You think it's better than paint correction in every situation?
No, I mean, I would say, you know, I wouldn't want to, like, I'm going to paint, for example, I'm going to paint correct my 21. We're doing my 21 Duramax right now. It was coated when we bought it new, but it's never had a paint correction. We put a 2-year on it. I sell them pretty fast. And I decided I was going to keep it. So I told Charles, I said, hey, let's strip the ceramic and just paint correct it. I'll probably paint correct the truck. And then if I do it again, you know, 3 or 4 years, I'll probably restore it. for new vehicles, you know, if they're scratching, now we do a ton, like, don't get me wrong. I'm doing a bunch of new car dealers. So we do a bunch. I'm doing a bunch of 21s. I did a 22, a Grand Cherokee yesterday that a dog had climbed on the doors. We're doing a lot of repairs. We're doing some panels, you know, roughly the way we're pricing it's you know, $100 a panel, 500 for a wholesale car, 550 for a mid-sized truck, 600 for a bigger, you know, we kind of set it at tiers. So I don't think it's for everything exactly, but it don't have to be because not everything needs it, you know. I like it. Like we did a 15 big body Benz, pearl white. And I went to my dealer, we're walking the lot with him, and me and him's been friends for 17 years. We're kind of walking a lot. And he's like, yeah, do this one, do this one. I said, what about this Benz? And he's like, well, does it need it? I said, I mean, if you want to sell it, it needs it. I said, it's yellow. You know, I mean, it's not white no more. It's dingy, it's dull. If you don't like it, don't pay me. And he's like, all right, take it. So I took it. We restored it. We brought it back, and you couldn't look at it. It was so bright because it was that pearl white that you can't look at in the sun, you know. And he goes, man, I really want to tell you I don't like it, so I guess I'll fucking pay you, you know. And that's just how it is. So, I mean, it is an amazing product for what it does. Like the first time I saw it, I mean, my son's, I had like an old work van, like a 15 Chevy Express van, a tree fell on that my son drives every day, total. And he's training to do PDR now, so he's going to keep it for his van. And he Restore FX did because he learned to do Restore FX also. He was actually working all summer doing Restore FX, and then he went back to school. He's a senior in high school. So he went back to school, so he can't work, you know, only 3 or 4 hours a night. So I'm just training to do dance now instead. But every time I look at his van is so shiny and so black. You know, it's like, what the fuck? A tree fell on this thing. This thing looked terrible. And it looks like a brand new van now, just covered in dents, you know. But yeah, it's a great product, man. I mean, it really is. It's one of the baddest, craziest shit I've ever seen, you know, to watch the product lay down, to watch what the product does, and the change. And then the customer, like you said, the wow factor that it gives for the customer. Because you take one that's brush scratched down both sides. What did you do? What was it, a 4Runner or something, or a Tacoma?
Yeah, that blue, my blue 4Runner. Yeah, that was. Yeah. I mean, and it's one day. Like that's the crazy part. It's like you could repaint a car with a high-end painter and sand in between a couple clear coat and like you can get to be like, holy shit, but like not in a day. That's weeks.
Not for that price either. Right?
Weeks. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why the price is like that, because it's a day, you know, and that's the thing that doesn't seem appropriate that you can do that great of a job and not even a day, like 4 hours, like it's a half a day for one car. I mean, that 4Runner is a full day. That thing, that was a lot of sanding. That was a lot of sanding. But yeah. 1 day repair turnaround with the wow factor is.
We've got a Tundra, or let's see, a Tacoma, kind of like that here. We've got a couple sitting here right now, and just the wow, like taking it back, especially when they're teetotally fucked. Taking it back and watching these guys just like, what did you do to this? And I was like, well, we wiped clear coat on it. They're like, it'll stay? And I was like, absolutely.
Permanent.
And they're like, are you sure? 100 fucking percent. Because this shit's hard, dude. Like we sanded some of it off. Just a couple days ago, one of our painters that does a lot of my body shop work, because we do body shop work here. We do insurance body shop work, but the body shop's down the road. My brother does bumper paint and his partner. So any retail job we get in, like we'll do doors and hoods and fenders and shit like that here, just because I'm not turning that down. Like I'm not turning leads that I get in my shop down that I paid for. So I just take them in, do the insurance claim, and send it down the road. We restored an old, like a 98 model OBS truck. And he wasn't happy with, with like some of the scratches, because they were all the way in. So he went ahead and painted one side of it, the side that he wasn't happy with. And I asked him, I said, how did it sand? And he said it sanded fine. It was just hard as fuck. And I was like, harder than normal clear coat. And he said, yeah, I just don't understand how this shit's harder than normal clear coat. And this is a painter. It's been painting since he's 17 years old. And they're hooked. I mean, they're hooked on it. I mean, anything they can bring over here to restore, you know, he's like, fuck yeah, we'll restore all this stuff because, you know, it fit. Like we fixed the blend line a couple days ago with it. We had a fender that was just, it come in for the dealer and it was matte. It was a 23 and the fucking fender was matte blue. The clear coat had died back. And I told the dealer, I said, man, we might be able to fix it. What's the worst thing that can happen? You know, and so we wiped it on there and it's shiny as the rest of it, man. I mean, it really is a wild product.
100%. That's pretty wild. And we've actually, I think, was it you, Jeremy, that was texting me about glue pulling on Restore FX cars? I think that was you. Yeah. I mean, I've glue pulled the next day. I mean, it cures overnight, and technically, I guess it's not fully cured unless you bake it under infrared the next morning. But it usually takes about a week for it to like do the off gassing process. If it's sunny outside in California and it's 95, it's going to cure way faster, obviously. But drivable outside in the elements the next day. And I've glue pulled. We did this Camaro one time. We did Restore FX, the whole thing, and then I didn't notice the dents on it, so they asked me to. We did the dents for that dealership too, and they pointed the dents out. I'm like, oh, I didn't see those when they were in the shop, and it was on like the quarter panel, so I had to glue pull it, and it was like, we did it on let's say a Tuesday. It was like Wednesday afternoon. I was like, well, I guess if I pulled clear off or whatever, then I'll just do it again. But so I'm pulling on it, it's fine, and so I think what if you get into the technicalities of Restore FX, it's actually they call it if you listen to our podcast with Alex, it's actually called a flux coat. So the flux coat, meaning that when they put the clear coat over the top of the clear coat that's already on there, it becomes the same clear coat. It bonds together and it is the same clear coat. So it's not a layer of something that you can pull off because it's not layer over the top of it. It becomes the same clear coat, which is interesting, like kind of hard to figure out, but like I believe it because you pull on it the next day. You're not pulling anything off. Yeah.
This is a good thing for Alex, right? It's so hard to explain this product that it's like hard to come up with something like it because it's the only thing like it out there, right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I get it all the time. I think it's a ceramic coating. Like a guy called me yesterday and goes, "Hey, the ceramic coating." I'm like, "It's not that."
Yeah.
But,
okay. Whatever. I can make it shiny. Bring it.
Yeah, what do you need? What do you need here?
Yeah, that's funny. So the new shop opens up in a week. How big is that one?
Yeah, we're looking November it is 3,000 square feet. It's a little smaller than this place, but working space is about the same because I've got 4,500 square foot of working space in my shop now. We probably got 26 in this other place. You can get 6 cars in there pretty comfortably. We do a fuck ton of window tint. That's something that I told Ryan, you know, anybody that will listen to me that does what we do, you know, do window tint. Don't detail cars. You know, I mean, detail cars. I mean, I have a detail shop. I had 5 detailers in here at one point in time. That was the biggest pain in the ass I've ever done in my life. Was detailing cars. You know, so we went into the window tint when I hired Justin. Justin was like, "Hey, we need to do window tint." And I'm like, "All right, what do you want to do?" And he's like, "I got this guy. He quit this dealer. He's awesome." So we brought this guy in, and we pretty much just got on YouTube. I bought some window tint, some cheap window tint. We got on YouTube and learned how to tint windows. And this year, this was I guess the 3rd year we've been tinting windows. We were the voted number 1 in Johnson City tinting windows. So, you know, we took that window tint. We were hoping for a $10,000 a month adder and turned it in. I mean, we run 3 months in a row, $20,000 in just window tint. You know, so we do a ton of window tint. And by getting all those jobs in the door, you have those chance to upsell. So we upsell Restore, we upsell ceramic, we upsell dent work, we upsell whatever. So with Restore being able to kind of print money fast and window tint being able to print money fast, that's probably what this Kingsport shop will start, is just window tint. One section will be restore, and then I'll have one of my dent guys will be there, probably by one of them, me. But we already have a dealer market in Kingsport that's pretty big. We also have a pretty big window tint pool. So, you know, our big thing at first was window tint. That's what we were going for in this Kingsport shop, because it's 30-minute drive from Kingsport to my shop right now. It's hard to drive 30 minutes, man.
Yeah.
So we're like, fuck it, we'll just make it convenient to them. Eastman Chemical Company is the second biggest employer in the state of Tennessee. They're in Kingsport. You know, we've got a lot of ties in with that place. So once we get there, you know, get through this winter, I'm sure it'll rock and roll. You know, I mean, it's, you know, we've got everything staffed. We remodeled that building. That building, you know, I didn't buy that place. We're just leasing that place. So the remodel's done. We just got to get in there and get rolling next week.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, I move into my shop recording time tomorrow, but actually November 1st. And we're 3,000 square feet as well. So pretty exciting stuff. Trying to move on up. But yeah, Restore FX and PDR. That's it. I feel like I need to add 7 more things now, but one step at a time. I mean, I'm honestly just considering just subbing everything out, you know?
Yeah, again, like if you can be that guy for your customer to problem solve and to fix those issues, it's like, why not make the money, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem solving thing, that's the deal, man. I mean, like he said, that is it. If you can solve everybody's problem, you just want to be the guy they call. Like, I'm okay if they call me with their problems, because they always call me with their checkbook also. You know, I'll solve them problems as long as you write them fucking checks. You know, call me if you want to. Just don't call me poor.
Love it, dude. That's killer.
Letter in there every once in a while, boys.
Yeah, that's good. I might title the podcast. My podcast.
Yeah, look. I mean,
what else we got?
You cuss me all you fucking want to. I mean, I don't know. What do you got? So what are we opening up in your shop? What else are we doing in California, man? You got how many square foot you got?
I just got 3,000. I'm moving in tomorrow, not Friday, so 2 days from now. So my goal is to get four Restore FX cars a day, 3 to 4 a day. So that means my current guy and then another guy, and then do the more and more PDR we're doing is bigger jobs, insurance claims. We don't obviously have hail out here, although I do about a hail car every month on average, from a random retail visiting somewhere else or a body shop or whatever. So got that going, and then bigger insurance claims. But now it's funny, now that I've been calling people, telling them, hey, I'm moving into your shop or whatever. Now I have a glass guy that I talked to yesterday. He's like, oh, you're moving to your shop. Like, you should, you know, we should talk about you selling my stuff, and I can come in there and replace windshields and do all blah, blah. And I'm like, so now I do this the next day, this conversation. And I'm like, I probably should just, in my waiting room, have my suite of options. I'm going to be basically the office manager of the place and the lead tech. I have 2 other dent techs, but I'll be the office manager and lead tech. So I'm like, I just need to maybe shift towards looking at the car itself and selling everything that needs to be sold for the vehicle. You know, I know Ryan's talking about, I know, why not? Well, the reason I haven't is because I haven't really been the office manager, and that's hard to train somebody to do that unless you have that person to do it. But to train somebody, oh, look at all the problems that are wrong with the car and offer to fix them all while it's here. Why not? Like you said, Ryan, your guy doing tires. Like, he's like, your tires are bald. Like, you need new tires. Like, why don't you just, like, it's going to be here for 2 days. Just leave it for a third and we'll just put tires on it. You know, it makes sense for the majority of customers that don't.
Yeah.
They trust you, and they don't know a guy that they don't know where to take their tires. They're probably just going to like go to Costco, or like not really sure. Like, what do they even need? Like, just be like, I got it. Like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of all that. And so why can't I do that for window tint, interior repair, glass repair, all that type of stuff? And so now my wheels are turning on that.
You'll find yourself absorbing businesses. It's funny you say that, because a guy, if you're really good at coordinating and communicating with customers,
Mhm.
It's like you'll have a guy who might be the best window tinter in the city, but he's just terrible at owning the business.
Yeah.
And you start creating so much business for that guy where he's pretty much at your shop 5 days a week.
Mhm.
One day this guy's going to be like, well, I mean, why don't you just take over and I'll just
Yeah.
work for you, right?
Yeah.
It could happen. It happens more often than not.
Well, that's how I hired my dent guy. I was like, do you want to be a
Right.
contractor for me? And he was like, yeah. And then 9 months later, I'm like, do you do anything else? And he's like, no. I'm like, you can't be a contractor. State of California is very picky on, probably pickier than other states, I would imagine. And I'm like, you can't be a contractor. Like, you have to do other stuff. So either you do other stuff or you just come work for me. Those are your two options, like starting tomorrow. Because you can't be a contractor. If they looked at it, they'd be like, you don't work for anybody else. You're not a contractor.
Right.
So anyway, so he's like, okay, I'll just come work for you. So I totally understand that. But yeah, so get busy enough to sell that stuff to people and become their main source of income, and then hire them.
Yeah, that's your customer. I mean, when they come in there, your customer, so they trust you already. That's why they're in your shop.
Right.
So you can sell them whatever you want if you have it there to sell. Kind of what we want. We hooked up with a couple like truck accessory companies, and that we've sent paperwork off to sell that. That's something else that we thought about doing, because we do mostly trucks. I mean, like, this is a big truck area. I mean, that's just what it is. So, you get your customer in to come in, and no matter what they want, window tint, detail, whatever it is, well, that's your customer. They're here. If you have the option of things to sell them sitting there, like when you come in my front door, I have shit everywhere, man. I mean, I've got a pretty big waiting room. I've got my banners of everything I sell, my framed window tint shit. We collect a lot of antiques in the back. I have a really warm welcoming. I have the TV on, it's a little bit of music or TV or whatever, or whatever they want. I try to make it more of an experience here. It's easier to sell people something, when they're comfortable and they're already here buying anyway. We've the amount of, for example, by adding window tint, 3 years ago, it doubled my revenue in ceramic coating by just the leads when they walk in the door, because we carry Ceramic Pro and then Clear FX both. So when they walk in the door, they'll see the Restore FX sign, they'll see the Ceramic Pro sign in the back, and they'll start asking questions and the difference, and then you'll have to figure out what's better for that car. Some of these new, you just want a ceramic coat. Some of these older cars, you want a Restore FX and then ceramic coat. But by offering all the different shit, it's easier to make money. It's just you can turn a customer, like, I guess you just want to look at your leads. Like before, if you're just doing dance and your average customer's $200, or your window tint, your average customer's $200, or you want to make that average customer $400. So if you can double what your customer spends, let's say you have 7 bays back here. Well, each bay is doing X amount of dollars, and just figure out how you want to do it. Like your shop, it's about the same size as the one I'm doing in Kingston. I put 6 cars in there all the time, because if all 6 bays are filled constantly, then you're maximizing your money. So I've got to sell as much shit as I can to keep those 6 bays. If I've got the glass guy in one of them bays, or if I've got, the interior guy or the wheel guy, or, the fucking detail shop across the street subbing something out, whatever it is, because we're not detailing that shop. Just whatever it is, man, you just got to make that money when you can get it.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I think the biggest thing, turning from a mobile dent guy to a more of an in-shop guy over the last, I would say, year or so, and really doing that, I think that having people drop off a car for the day, no matter the size of the dent, essentially, is where I'm leaning towards mostly. Because once it's there, and they know if you have a customer coming in, and you say, hey, it's going to take 45 minutes for your dent repair, you can't sell them anything else, because they got 45 minutes in their head. They're like, okay, I'm going to pop in. And I have a lot of customers like that. I fix a door ding for them. And they're like, can I just swing by and get a door ding fixed? Sure. Really hard to sell them on something else, because now they got to drop the car and then wait till tomorrow and blah. So like pretty much everybody now, I'm like, drop it off for the day, pick it up at the end of the day, or drop it off for the day, pick it up tomorrow. 1, you have to have the shop space for that a lot of times. 2, that gets them in the head. So when they get there and you're like, hey, I noticed that there's this problem also. We could do that while it's here. And they're like, oh, yeah, of course, just make it do what you need to do. Or it's like, hey, I see that you have tires or detail or whatever. Like if you leave it for a second day, you know, I can get that done. But they're already in the mindset of dropping it off. So one big problem for me was I set 2-hour windows. I'm like, go to the guy's or girl's house, fix the dent, go to the next one. And so that was all of my mentality. But changing to like drop it off for the day, super, super big change for me. And I've done that the last few months, and it makes a big difference in my opinion. Is that how you run it? Like drop
We
pretty
never
much everybody's
did,
dropping?
Yeah, I tell everybody like window tint. I mean, we try to like the window tint job. Some people are just impatient.
Yeah.
They want to,
And you, yeah.
you know, 45 minutes, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, is it going? Oh God, like 45 minutes? Yeah, motherfucker. I mean,
yeah, I got
it. Car around back.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, I try to get on dents. So with dents, no matter what, you're stuck here between an hour to 2 hours.
Right.
I tell everybody on a dent, I don't care how big it is, you're looking between an hour or 2 hours. You know, and if it's sooner than that, then you've oversold your deal already.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the whole thing. You know, don't overpromise, over deliver. You know, so tell them 2 hours, get it done in an hour. You look like a hero, whatever. But yeah, getting them there for the amount of time, so they can look around and ask questions too. You know,
right.
have your office set up the right way to get the questions you want asked. You know, position everything to where they're looking at it constantly. You know, that's something we you know, are constantly looking at, me and Justin in the shop, of how to position something different to make them want to buy, you know, persuade them to want to buy something else. And because like I said, adding Justin was probably one of the best things I could add. A guy in your shop that cares about it as much as you it should be everybody's goal, you know, in finding a manager or a GM or anything, because, you know, he runs because we do mobile PDR also. I mean, we probably do $500,000 a year in just wholesale PDR with route techs, and that's not counting my shop, you know, or the business or anything. Justin kind of oversees everything shop related, so we're constantly looking at how to make more money, or hey, what if we position this banner this way just a little bit, just to have people look at it more, you know, just little weird things that might be like, what the fuck is this, you know. But just trying to get it set up to make sure you can sell your shit, make it easy for your customer coming in and out. We never did like where you said you had 2 hour windows between each job doing mobile PDR. I never did mobile PDR that way. So when we did retail, we were so wholesale oriented and did so much wholesale, I would make the customers come to where I was at and work. I would never go to their house. I tried to go to people's houses and they never wanted to pay service charge. They'll pay a plumber, or they'll pay the guy that sucks the shit out of your septic tank service charge, but they won't pay me a service charge if I'm working on your Mercedes Benz. So it was something that I fought at first and just said, I'm not coming to your house. You can come to me. Nobody ever did that around here, kind of go to people's houses. And now there's a guy, I think there's a Cali guy here working, kind of going to people's houses, that same style that they do out there, but nobody did it here. Nobody goes to your house and works here. Like that's just
I know who that is. Actually, we talked about it the other day. I know who that is. Yeah. He used to work for us.
It's wild.
Sorry about that.
This guy, I talked to him. I talked to him for a little while at a car show, or at a car lot, and then car show. I seen him, you know. But man, I mean, like I said, you're going to get that. You're going to get competition constantly. We're going to do it our way. I'm not the cheapest. Like we did. I've got a hail damage car out here right now. I fought to get $3,500 on the roof, but it's either fucking do it or cut it off, you know. And that's kind of the way I've become in this is. We don't negotiate. We get what we want. And we do it the right way, and we warranty our shit. And everybody loves us for a reason. And that's kind of, you know, how we push it here. I'm not the cheapest. I have never been the cheapest. I'm probably the highest. But you know, my lounge looks that way. My shop's clean. I got to get my shit clean. You know. You want to maximize every day and every dollar.
Yeah, 100%. That's a lot of really, really good advice there, dude. I really appreciate you coming on for the last hour and giving us all of your trade secrets.
Ain't no secrets. It's just gonna work, man. I mean, I'm just a dumb hillbilly from East Tennessee, bro. I don't even know how I fucking made it here. I'm harder than everybody else. I'll look at it. And now I don't work. I don't work no more.
But I feel like that's a good, yeah. Like I think all of us we've worked a long time in the PDR industry, and they have a lot of guys out there that are trying to find their exit strategy. And I'd say 90% of people have no retirement, right? They're just like, they don't have a business to sell, right? They have no contracts, nothing. They have a book of business that you could probably get a little bit of money for. But at the end of the day, if you have a guy that is a PDR technician that wants to retire, maybe this is your option. Open up a shop, and we're giving you all the keys and all the knowledge you need to be able to do it the right way, because Jeremy, Corey, and I have failed miserably in some aspects of business, and we've succeeded. So you can learn all this stuff, and this is what it's here for, is to grow your business, and maybe we're setting up a retirement plan for you. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, don't say we didn't try to tell you.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, for real, dude. Like, this is how I don't want to be on the fucking road. Like, this is like, it was not happening. I've got a 3-year-old that'll be 3 in January. It wasn't planned, but it's by far one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because it really made me double down on saying, I'm not going back out on the road. This has to work. So I said, fuck it, and then spent a bunch of money on another shop like an idiot. You know, we're going into election year, you know, World War III, but buddy, this shop's going to fucking make it. You know, that's the way I look at it. It's got to, you know, there's no other option. And that's the thing is, you know, with me, you know, I come from the roughest side of fucking town, you know, and I made it out of there by telling myself, you ain't got no more options. This has to work. Like when my first year in hell, I got stranded in Austin, Texas. Fucking hitchhike back here. You know, if I put the whole story in here, we'll be on here for 5 fucking hours, you know. So I just am not going to let nothing get in my way to not make this work, because I know it can. And everybody out there listening to this that has the least little thought in their mind that they can make it work, just try it. Because, you know, if you don't shoot the shot, you're never going to score. It just ain't going to happen.
Yeah, you did mention too election year. You did mention election year, World War III, brink of the biggest recession ever to happen. Like whatever all the fear is, if you look back over the last 10 years, I can give you a reason not to open your shop. Any one of those years, there was a reason. It was either COVID. It was this person was president. This recession. This is gonna fail. The immigrants coming up. Whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. They do that to make you fail so that you don't win, because people that win are the ones that change the world. They're the ones they don't want.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
You know, and so don't let the news. Don't let the news. Don't let the next president, whether you hate Biden or Trump, don't let that be the deciding factor whether you open your shop up in the small town of it. It doesn't matter. All that stuff is noise, and it can change your life, but you change with it. You adjust, you change the services you're offering, you rent out half your shop to someone else, you whatever, dude. There's always options, but there's zero options if you never even start the shop.
No, and that's coming from a California cat.
That's coming from California. You think things are bad?
Yeah.
You want to have a bad outlook on taxes.
It's terrible out there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, dude, it's terrible out there. I mean,
but it's also not.
I bought this place and they shut me down.
Yeah, but it's also not, because like I didn't shut down during COVID. It was always a choice. There's 35 million people that live in California. I should be able to build a 10 times bigger business than both of you guys. You know, I live in a city within 1 hour of driving that I could reach 3 million people. You know, car culture in California is ridiculous. Like, there's not just trucks out here. There's every kind of car. You can drive your car year round. It rains for like 42 days a year. There's a lot of reasons why I should, like, if you focus on the good stuff, California is the best place to be, you know?
I was getting trained to do restore effect while they were riding in the streets in Seattle. So
right. Yeah.
It was in the straight middle of the world was about to end, and I'm over here opening up another portion of my business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. City of Chaz,
Dude,
or whatever it was called. Yeah,
you
that was
can
awesome.
second guess
There's always
you can
something.
second guess yourself to death.
Yep.
But
That was
Anyways,
good, fellas.
that's not an
like
hour.
I said,
Yeah,
you
that was
can
killer.
just. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate being on here. I'm sorry about the lag. You know, I've got this fucking headset from 2002 when I first started doing paint and stent repair. You know, I was not real techie.
All good, dude.
Appreciate it. It was a great
We
conversation.
appreciate it.
Everybody out there that's listening, if you listen to this, you know, I'm really not an asshole. I love each and every one of y'all. I want y'all to be successful. And follow your dreams, you know, no matter what that dream is. Don't be, the main key is, and this is no shit, just don't be a pussy. Do it. You know, just go and fucking do it, man. Like, no shit. I know y'all are laughing, but here's the deal. Like, I've been a pussy about business so much, and I've second guessed it over. Think about, I sit back right now and I should not be working. Like I said, and I think about it, all these things that I turned down, and these deals I turned down, and these because I was too chicken shit to do it, you know. And I wouldn't. I mean, hell, I might even be talking to y'all. I might be filthy rich, bro. Like, I don't know if y'all seen my Halloween outfit with the gold chain. That could be me right now. But I didn't shoot my shot when I was young, so now I'm trying to shoot it when I'm 42. So shoot it when you're young. Don't wait till you're old, because getting old sucks. Closing message.
That's good. Yeah. Ending. Call me with your problems, but don't call me poor. That's the title.
Yeah, dude.
All right,
Call
guys.
me with your problems, but don't
All right,
call me
fellas.
poor.
See you on the next one.
Later.